Okay, so the crypto market's going absolutely crazy right now, just as expected. Bitcoin right now, as it stands, is above $101,000. Matter of fact, it's at 101.5K. Ethereum, I just wanted to open a bot for, didn't get the chance though. Right now sitting at $2,046. And the reason I wanted to buy a bit more Ethereum recently is because if you think about it, the last time Bitcoin went to $100,000, ETH was at what? 3 point something K, and the time before that 3.7, time before that $4,000. And right now Ethereum was at 1,700 or so, or 1,800, just something wacky really. Anyway, but we can still do that. Ethereum still, as of this point, is quite cheap. But really, XRP also is moving, well, I'm stuttering like a maniac. That's how crazy prices are going right now. But also moving up beautifully. And actually, most coins all of a sudden are seeing double-digit gains. And I mean, if you kind of look at the overall perspective here, Virtual's up 40%. Pengu up 34%, WIF is up 25%, Pepe up 25%. Guys, it feels like the pool is back. And I've been saying for the last few days that this is again the time to go a bit crazy. I mean, I opened another $500,000 worth of positions just yesterday, or almost 2 days ago now, as of this point. Let's just quickly see. If I quickly refresh this, see how things come along. I think it's now been 2 days, right, since I opened a new $500,000 XRP and Bitcoin position. It's been 2 days of 41 minutes. They're up roughly $20,000. So anybody, because quickly after I opened them, they were at a loss. Anybody who followed me along by using the links down below right now is seeing at least like 15% worth of profit or so on either of these. So that is pretty juicy. Anybody who also joined the team, went for these trades, amazing. Big ups on you because they have been going crazy right now. And I'm also satisfied to see it. I mean, ultimately, this SUI one was also trading at a pretty big loss before. You can see I only put $1,500 in and it was trading at a $300 loss. The thing is, though, ultimately, it's a longer term game you're playing. This 𝗕𝗓𝗪 bot, let's quickly see, was also at a $450 loss before, right now only 75. You'll see where this is all going to be at over the next few months. Don't focus too much on the day to day. Now, to continue the discussion, though, Trump just said, let me quickly put it in the screen here. President Trump says the stock market will rally now. Now, that is a pretty interesting statement to come from old Mr. Trump. You can probably understand why. Because, well, first of all, he's right. You know, the moment he said that, the stock market did actually go pretty crazy. But more importantly, because, well, think about it. He's the president. So if the president of the United States says, yeah, let's buy, the last time he said it, the last time he said this seems like a good moment to buy, the market moved up for multiple days in a row with some pretty record-breaking numbers. But really, take a look. He says you better go out and buy stocks now, and instantly, basically, everything decided to move up tremendously. Now, there is a counter to it all. And this was, in my opinion, a pretty big counter, something pretty scary that happened over at the White House. And that has to do with maybe authority or announcements, or, well, just take a look at this. So Trump's Truth Social post that touted including XRP, Solana, and Cardano in the crypto strategic reserve was pushed by a lobby group with crypto clients, which was unknown to Trump. The lobbyist has since been exiled from the White House, said by Politico, and that is kind of interesting to me. Not only because it makes me think, which part of it was true, but mostly about the other side, which is, did they just not feel as if it was the time for it yet? Ultimately, I think with the way in which the Trump administration is doing their business, they're going to get a lot of these US-based coins in a very, very good position. But maybe, just maybe, it was too early in the process, not even having a Bitcoin strategic reserve, to state all this, that they will include all these coins, for example. There's multiple things that I could say about the potential conflict of interest with a statement like this, but ultimately, I do believe they will be included. It just will take some time. Also, one more thing to remind y'all of, really, just overall, if you just always shut the frick up, don't think too much, just buy the frickin' dip, not financial advice, but this is logic, you'll be up a ton, you know, over a prolonged period of time. Because I'm telling you right now, every single time I've made videos here talking about buying the dip, and I've made loads, there's always people in the comments section that are quite critical and saying, but what if it goes down more? And often I like to bring up one specific little page that I have, is this right here. These are some of the trades I've still got running over on Blowfin. This Bitcoin trade was minus $10,000 a little bit before. Virtuals is what, minus 12K? And the XP one was minus what, $100,000 or so? It's only minus, I'm going to say 50-ish, minus 5, and it's only, I guess, plus 10. But soon, you'll see what these numbers are going to look like. Again, it will take time. And I could have actually added more as prices were lower, but I didn't because I told you, in case it goes down lower, I'll have to buy significantly. $1.60 in XRP is cheap, but it could also go to $1. So we added, I think, like $70,000 or $100,000 or so on this level on the trade, something along those lines. And as XRP goes back up to the $3.50 level or so, you'll see this position is going to be worth a significant amount more, probably around the 500K mark or so at that point. And if I then start adding up the Bybit trades we have as well, now these new positions we've got as well, this is another $250,000. Soon, we're going to be still having ourselves a couple $1 million in just XRP trades. I'm not talking about holding XRP. I'm just talking about only the trades here on YouTube will also be a couple $1 million worth of XRP, which is amazing to look at. Don't get me wrong. And for Bitcoin also, but Bitcoin is less special because I always say you can buy as much as you want off of these coins and you'll ultimately make a profit. And I'm not making guarantees, but this is my own conviction. I literally think there's a 0% chance you can lose money on Bitcoin, especially with just low leverage, like maybe a 3 or 5x or something like that. It's almost impossible to lose unless you are really, really bad with money management. Here, by the way, was that little quote that I've talked about before. The first time Bitcoin at 100,000, ETH was at 4, and then all the way toward the 5th time with ETH at 1.9 thousand. By the way, a little side note, I also put a little update in the community over on X, talking about my XRP purchases, and this was 9 hours ago. Fun fact, if you'd even just bought XRP back then, you'd be up. Just a little side note. Now, if you're wondering, we earlier stated that Trump was going to get some massive new trade deal in, right? Some massive new announcement. If you're wondering if we've got an update on that field, if anything new has been announced in those realms, well, yes, we do have one new announcement. Let me quickly go there if I can. Here we go. Apparently, Trump, this is 10 minutes ago, just announced a new trade deal with the UK, lowering the barrier for key goods, cutting auto tariffs to 10%, and exempting steel and aluminum from tariffs. Now, to me, that is not really that big a deal, but ultimately, I'm also not really the main proponent of all this in the sense that, to me, none of these tariffs do anything. I think maybe overall I would notice in products, but I've gotten to a point in my life also where I don't care if it's $25 or $27. I would care though if it's all of a sudden like $84, but I think in general, the barrier, or let's say the pressure on consumers will be minimalized over time. And thus I think it might be a bit of a overreaction really. But I do get it, if you're a dropshipper or whatever, and all of a sudden they're saying some of your items might get 100% more expensive. Yeah, I get that it's quite panicky, but then on the opposite side, for me, I don't think I'll notice too much of it. And really, I actually found this quote quite beautiful as well. It said from CZ, again, the co-founder of Binance, Bitcoin is easy, just don't panic sell. And when it comes back to any of my trades really, throughout the last, 9 years, oh man, I'm getting old. Realization moment. Over the last 9 years anyway, one thing I've noticed is if you're not an idiot, and you just don't sell. I'm not talking about meme coins. I'm not talking about some crappy altcoins. I'm talking about top tier coins, ETH, XRP, Bitcoin, but even Solana, BNB, Cardano, just top tier coins. As long as you do not sell at a stupid price, or if you do, at least you get yourself a better entry afterwards, you're going to make a ton of money. This is not a guarantee, but this has ultimately worked. And the reason I've got these bots, by the way, you can follow along with them, link down below. Every single person who's followed along has made tons of money. There's zero people who could have lost money on this thus far. And I've been doing it for a few weeks now, 16 days here. And you'll see, again, on the short term, these might look awful. They sometimes will. Over a longer term, though, you can't beat them. The only way you can is by opening full longs like this and hoping the price only goes up. But the beauty in the bots, and I keep talking about every video because it's that good, is that it also buys very heavily as prices come down lower and sells when they go up slightly. Meaning, again, if we take a look at this, you want the price to go down a lot lower before going up so you can just buy and buy and buy. For XRP, for example, here to give you a little look, you want the price to keep falling down lower and lower and lower because that way you can buy more to cash in more grid profits. And if you want to, you can change some parameters to, for example, be more at 1% a day or so. But the problem is, at that point, you're taking in quite a lot of risk. With these, I can't call them risk-free, but the risk is so freaking low. And still, the gains you can make on a good market. And a good market just means that it moves up and down a lot, or with hopefully mostly upwards. But even if it just stays the same level and does this, you'll still make a ton of money, which is the nice thing in comparison to just full-out longs, like I've done, for example, here on Blowfin. But I was recording a whole video today here talking about the craziness of the market that we're in and how to prepare basically for the next big break. And all of a sudden, the market decided to put another leg upwards. And all I got to say is we've been preparing y'all for a while now. I said the moment that Bitcoin breaks 95,000, the bull is basically back. Altcoin season is here. Again, check back the videos. But I think most people They know by now. Right? I've been saying for a while, the altcoin season most likely is here. There's a lot of videos I've made recently talking about my strategies for buying as well. Here's one. Here's actually another. Here's another video talking about the bull market that's basically confirmed, the breakout that was confirmed. And this was here about the next chart, which is basically Bitcoin's chart, taking a beautiful stance for a massive breakout. Regardless, y'all know, right? The bull market basically is back in full-fledged glory. It might take a little bit of time for alts to really catch up, but I am telling you right now, from my perspective, this is the time to shine. I already had a feeling for a while, but I feel as if this is, again, the moment where we just start going crazy again. And once more, it might be a few shakeouts in the midst, but I do not believe that any person watching these videos here should be doubting their cryptos anymore. If you are, just go away from my channel, because I can't handle that negativity no more. We're in the craziest of bull markets. Nothing can stop this. Governments will be bidding for our coins. That's all I want to talk about today. That's about it. But damn, I'm excited for the near future. Things are about to get so freaking wild. And the funniest thing is, we're at the start of it all. We still got a few months left of crazy gains. I still believe August to January, August of this year to January of next year is where we'll see the all-time high. So we still got time. This is amazing. Anyway, make sure you get yourself a free $30 to $100 with the link down below to Payonix or some other deposit bonuses. And you can copy all the bots with links down below. That's about it. Things are amazing. I should open up a few more bots.